Good afternoon, Stillwater Elementary families, and thank you for joining us for today's question and answer session for you to ask questions before you submit the survey for tomorrow in deciding whether or not your child will join us for in-person learning or remote learning. We decided to do a question and answer tonight as well as next week, just so that you could make an informed decision. We received lots of emails from elementary parents, understandably so, and so I wanted to give you the opportunity to hear what a day in the life, school day for your child is going to be like, and to ask those questions. Just a few reminders, tonight's presentation is specific to the elementary school. At 6 o'clock, Superintendent Morris will do her question and answer, and then the middle and high school next week. So I'll answer questions specific to the elementary school. In the email you received regarding tonight's question and answer, you had a link to a Google form. That's what you'll use to ask questions, and you can fill it out multiple times. And once I go through the presentation, then I'll start to go through those questions. I will do the best I can to answer them. Anything I can't provide answers to, I will get back to you personally with a phone call and then address in next week's forum as well. So I just want to share again the guiding principles. I know Superintendent Morris went over this, but as we went through our reopening plan, we had guiding principles that we really stuck to. The first one was to provide a safe place to work and learn, and the next one was to transport, educate, and feed our children. And those were always in the forefront as we put this plan in place. I'm going to start by going a little more in depth as to what the elementary schedule consists of. I know there has been some confusion, so I really want to clarify this. For all students in UPK, K, and 1, students will come every day. For kindergarten and first grade, the classes will be split into 2 sections. This is to allow for social distancing and still bring every kindergarten and first grade student in every day. So when they're not with their classroom teacher, they'll be with an aide or a teaching assistant in a learning lab setting. And I'll kind of talk about what that looks like in a minute, in a few slides to go. Students in grades 2 through 5 will come in on an A, which we're calling maroon, or B, which is a white day. A days are always Monday and Thursday, and B days are always Tuesday, Friday. It's the Wednesday that will rotate for your child, and a calendar will be sent home identifying what those days are. And in the next slide, you'll see what that calendar looks like. Special education and English language learners will come every day, and that includes special education students that are in self-contained as well as consultant teachers. So this is an example of what our calendar looks like, and you will get this home in the mail that addresses September and October. So if you can see the first week of school, which starts on the 14th, it's a maroon, which is an A day, then white, maroon, maroon, white. And then next week rotates, same days except the Wednesday is white as opposed to maroon, which white is a B day. So you'll get this in the mail as well as indicating what day your child comes to school, either A or B. All right, so let's take a look at what a day in the life of an elementary student who chooses in-person learning looks like. I'll talk to remote learning after this. I just want to remind parents, in case you didn't see the information, what is the first day of school? For K and 1, half of the class will come on Monday, September 14th, the other half on Tuesday, September 15th. Beginning Wednesday, September 16th, all students will come every day. And you'll get in the mail which day your child is coming, either Monday or Tuesday. UPK starts on that Monday the 14th, and students in grades 2 through 5 also do. And as you saw on the calendar, Monday is an A day. So arrival. When students arrive by bus, we'll unload 2 buses at a time. Before students enter the building, they'll have their temperature taken, and we will have sanitized their hands. And then they'll go directly to their classroom. And I think it's important to note that we have added staff at both the entrance and throughout the hallways to ensure that social distancing is occurring, safety protocols, and that students get right to their classrooms. If you are intending to drive your child to school, parents will pull up in the same location, which is outside by our athletic fields near our South Quad, but you won't get out of the car. A staff member will escort your child into the building, and before they enter, their temperature will be taken as well. So I want to speak to the safety protocol we have in place. We know that the first few weeks of school, we need to do that explicit instruction on hand washing, mask wearing, and social distancing. This will be taught and modeled throughout the school day and throughout the building. Many questions have come in of, does my child have to wear a mask all day? Children will wear masks when they're entering the building, as they transition through the hallways, and anytime they're unable to socially distance. They don't need to wear them during instruction when they're at their seats or at recess or while they're eating. It's just when they're unable to socially distance. Hand washing and sanitizing will occur when students enter the building, before and after eating, and then throughout the school day. We have put in touchless hand sanitizing stations throughout the building, as well as touchless soap dispensers will be installed also. For the safety of our children, we are unable to have visitors in the building. So if your child needs to be picked up early, you would come to the front desk and then someone will walk them out to you. If a child comes to school with a fever, they will be brought to our isolation or waiting room, and then you will be called to pick them up. We will send information home just for screening tools for you to look for before you have your child come to school. As Superintendent Morris said, we are asking that you take their temperature before they arrive, and we'll also take it when they arrive. All right, so what does in-person instruction look like? For K-1, the classroom teacher provides direct instruction in all subject areas. When the students aren't with the teacher, as I said, the aide or teaching assistant will work on a project, conduct a read aloud, provide movement breaks, all in that learning lab setting. Students will see their classroom teacher for every subject every day. Some of you asked if they're only going to see their teacher every other day, but it will be every day. Students in grade 2 through 5 come in a group or a cohort, and they'll be with their classroom teacher all day. On the days they're home for remote learning, it'll be a learning lab day. So they'll work on independent work from the instruction they received the day before. We are unable for teachers to provide live instruction on these days as they're teaching the next group in person. All of our services will be provided in a push-in model. So for example, AIS teachers will push into the classroom so that students aren't transitioning through the hallway all day long. So specials, lunch, and recess. Children will still get their specials. Special area teachers will push into the classrooms and certainly take them outside as much as possible when weather permits. To start, lunch is going to take place in the classroom. Once we get into a routine and a schedule, we'll start to rotate classes into the cafeteria on a schedule so that they are socially distanced but able to get out of the classroom. So we can put 28 students in our cafeteria and still be socially distanced. And so we'll just do that on a rotating schedule. Same as recess. We know students need to move throughout the day, and going outside is so important. So we'll be zoning recess areas for each group to play in so that we're not mixing groups of students, but still allowing them to be outside. And again, we increase the number of people we have outside monitoring recess so that we have extra people. And also if someone has to be walked in for any reason, we've got those extra people. You know, we know that this return to school can cause so much anxiety and or nervousness for your child, for yourself, for our staff. And so their social and emotional well-being are a top priority. For our kindergarten and first grade students, we have made social emotional learning now part of their specials rotation. And what do I mean by that? That is an opportunity for our social emotional learning team to give strategies on dealing with that nervousness, do some mindfulness with them, work through how to problem solve. And then for our 2 through 5 students, they'll push in on a weekly basis. And we're really going to focus on this in the first 6 weeks to make sure we're addressing all of the needs of our students. And I can't say this enough. If your child has some anxiety or nervousness that you want us to know about, please reach out, because we can be proactive in that rather than having to be reactive. We want to be on the forefront of all of your children's needs. Dismissal. So any students riding the bus, will call students by bus, so one cohort at a time is leaving the building and entering the school bus. If you are parent pickup, it's going to look a little different. We've backed it up to 3 o'clock to allow more time. I didn't say this in the beginning, but I think you've heard us say this a lot. This is a plan that's always going to be reevaluated. So if we see 3 o'clock doesn't give us enough time or it's too much time, we will adjust and always communicate that with you. But as of now, parent pickup will begin at 3 o'clock. Our students will come into the cafeteria and be socially distanced. Typically, we have 2 people in there. We've again increased our staff for parent pickup, and students will be walked to the parent's car. We ask, especially in the beginning, you have your ID ready because staff is not going to know, and we want to make sure each child gets with the appropriate family. So, and then you'll sign for your child that way. Again, this prevents the congregating at the door and parents entering the building for student safety. So that spoke to in-person learning. I know a lot of you would like to know what remote learning looks like at the elementary level. So on my screen, you'll see an example for kindergarten and first grade students. I can't stress that this is an example. I can't stress enough that this is an example because it certainly depends on the number of students we have that choose remote learning. But let's say this is our K-1 schedule. So you can see from 8:45 until around 12:15, students will receive live instruction of all of their core subjects with breaks and lunch built in because we recognize that is a long time to be in front of a device, especially for our younger students. Where you see the term synchronous, that means live instruction. The teacher will be teaching to a group live. You'll notice the afternoons say office hours and Google Meets, and that is because that'll be time for the teacher to meet with smaller groups or one-on-one. And that's what Fridays will look like as well. It could be the morning, or this could flip and it could be an afternoon schedule for your child. Again, it depends on the number of students who are remote learning. Okay, so I shared some information with you. Now I'm going to address the questions that are coming in. And I apologize if you see me looking to the right, I have the questions on a different computer so that I wasn't bouncing back and forth. So the first one, if we do not fill out the survey by the deadline, due to the possibility of not having enough information either from the school or the state, what will happen? Will those children automatically be signed up for remote learning? Actually, it'll be the opposite. We would sign you up for in-person instruction, and then if you reached out to us and said that you needed remote learning, we would make that adjustment. That has come up a few times. If I start with in-person, can I switch to remote? Absolutely. It's just the reverse that doesn't work. If you start out remote, you would stay remote through January and then you could reevaluate. And that's because there's so many logistics behind this, and to include transportation, food services, and room locations based on the number of students we have. What is the plan for families that are autoimmune compromised? So any individual situations, I would ask that you reach out to myself for the elementary or your building principal, and we can work on a learning plan that best meets your needs, whether it be remote or in person. How is the reopening going to work? So I shared what a day in the life will be like, and I also think it's important to say that we, like I said before, we'll continually reevaluate it. We are going to reopen with the plan we have in place and meet daily, get feedback from teachers and parents, and continue to put forth the best plan in place that addresses the needs of our students and their safety. Why is the school not having kids 5 days a week when other schools are doing that? That's a great question, and I've received it quite a bit. And I'll be very honest with you, we did start out with a plan that had students coming in 5 days a week, UPK 5. But what that did is it prevented our students in grades 7 through 12 from coming in, because in order to bring K-5 students in every day, we had to use all the buildings on campus. We wouldn't be able to bring any of the other students in. And so we looked at the needs of everybody K-12. That's why our 2nd through 5th grade students are coming in every other day. What will the hours be for each day? Will times be staggered or different per grade levels? As it stands right now, and this is just the elementary school times, our times are 8:30 till 3:20, as they typically are. other than backing up parent pickup. We're not staggering it for different grade levels at this time. What specific requirements will be in place around face coverings? Again, as I said, they'll wear them when they cannot be socially distanced, when on the bus and in transition in the hallway. Children will be able to take them off. And it says, will they be expected to keep them on? Just as I had said, no. How many kids will be in one class? There won't be more than 12 students in a class. Most of our students, though, or most of our classrooms have approximately 10 in there, but there would not be more than 12. We had to look at the square footage of each room and what instructional space we had. Will parents be able to see spaces? That's a great question that a lot of you have asked. So right now, the spaces are still being set up. So I can't send you pictures or put anything out, but I certainly believe that teachers will take pictures and send them to you as parents so you can see them once they're set up. Will any children be traveling from one location to another? So aside from coming in and leaving the building and going out for recess, there will be limited movement. So let's take a 5th grade class, for example, where there are 2 teachers per team. In 5th grade, the teacher will be moving, not the students. And again, this allows for that cohort or group to stay together. So I did address this. If we decide to send our children and then want to take them out later, can we? Absolutely, you would just let us know. Almost every other district in the capital region is offering daily in-person for elementary. Understanding this is difficult. Okay, what are the reasons Stillwater was not able to offer this? And I did already answer that. Will students get to play on the playground? If so, will they be wearing masks? So yes, I will zone different areas, as I said, and we'll rotate through the playground. So if I'm in kindergarten, perhaps one day Mrs. Dawes' class is on the playground and the next day Mrs. Grace, and we will rotate and they'll have a calendar so that every child gets a chance to be on the playground each week. In terms of sanitizing the playground, it will be our typical process and we'll follow the guidelines of CDC and DOH. Will students be reassigned to a different teacher if a higher percentage of parents elect remote learning? I'm so glad you asked that because I forgot to touch on that. There is a chance that the teacher you received for your child in the summer in June when you picked everything up may be different. And again, all of that is dependent on the results of the survey. If we may need one remote learning teacher at each grade level, then we would have to restructure. But again, I won't know the answer to that until the results come in. So I don't have any more questions yet that have come in. I will stay on for a few more minutes to see if any questions do pop up. If you're watching this and it's recorded because you were unable to watch it live and you have questions, and I'm gonna go share this with you. Oh, well, let me do that first. You can send them to either the reopening email address or to my own email if they're specific to elementary questions, and I will get back to you promptly to answer those. I know how important it is to have all of this information before you make your decision. So please feel free to email or call and I will get back to you. Just as a reminder, tonight at 6, Superintendent Morris will be speaking, and then again tomorrow at 10. And then on August 20th, our middle school principal, Mr. Houlihan, will speak regarding the middle school. 1 p.m., Dr. Johnson regarding high school. And I'll be back on at 6 on the 20th to answer any more questions that might pop up between now and then. Will remote learning be taught by a certified teacher? That question has just come in. It will. It will be a teacher within our school district. I just don't know who yet because, again, it depends on the numbers. But yes. Will the UPK class be split in 2 for morning and afternoon sessions? You mentioned no more than 12 and there are 14. That's a great question. So when we went down to the UPK room, we were able to, the size accommodates 14 students. So we were able to do that. Most of our class sizes aren't big enough to have, because the CDC says we can have between 12 and 14, but our class sizes really aren't that big. And so aside from kindergarten, we didn't need to go beyond the 12, but UPK will be the 14. Speaking of UPK, I just want to bring to light, because it wasn't in our FAQs, but At this time, we're unable to offer a virtual option for UPK. So UPK is in person only, just to think about as you're filling out that survey. The incoming class has a lot of students. We'll be adding another teacher to help socially distance. So at this time, we have it so we don't need another section. Certainly if we got an influx more, we would have to look at that. But right now we were able to split them into the 2 groups and still be able to socially distance. Does UPK, UPK does not offer remote learning. In the kindergarten classroom with a special ed and a regular ed teacher, will one teacher be with each group of 12 children, or will an aide be doing the learning lab? In that situation, we do have 1 and 1. So the special ed teacher with 1 and the general ed teacher with another. Will kindergarten classrooms be split half the day with their teacher and half the day with an aide? So it's not half and half. So for example, let's say math instruction is in kindergarten from 9:30 to 10:10. Okay, so I'm a kindergarten teacher. I'll teach 9:30 to 10:10 math to my first group, and then I'll go and teach it to the second. We're not breaking it up AM, PM because we want continual interaction with the teacher opposite the learning lab times. We as a district recognize that this is a tough decision for you, especially for parents who are sending kiddos to school for the first time. And so we want you to know again that we have put every thought and taken all of the advice and comments and questions that you have sent us. This is new to us as well as to you, and so we appreciate your feedback. Somebody had said to me, you should probably have a meeting before the survey is due, a parent in one of the questions. And you know what, I appreciate that because we're doing this for your information and it's new. And so we appreciate the feedback that you're giving. So I don't have any more questions at this time. As I said previously, send them my way. I will get back to you. We are very close to having all of our survey results. So we encourage you to fill it out by tomorrow so that we can make the best decisions and get you your information. So my goal is to have your child's cohort or group, whether they're an A or B day, out to you by the end of next week so that you can start planning for those. I know some of you have sent emails to me about can you schedule them on the same day as my babysitter's kids or my middle school child. Continue to send those. I will do the best I can to work with you to make this easy and practical for your family. All right, I thank you for joining in with us. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your support. You have been so kind in your feedback with your questions and your comments. And so I, as the building principal, and we as the district appreciate all you're doing. Thank you and have a great night.